Hello, Prince of Peace kids. We continue to do our tour through our church to see the images of the saints and learn more about their stories. Now, you may have noticed when you come into church that there is this amazing woman who is up right here on the right side of the church looking at the altar. And her name is Rita of Cassia. Right there. So Rita of Cassia is my girl. Okay? She is my go-to saint for all kinds of things that I want to pray for. Well, why? Well, Rita of Cassia was born in 1381 in a little town in Italy. And her family was very devout, and they loved their daughter so much, and they lavished all kinds of gifts upon her because she was the apple of their eye. And Rita grew up in a very devout family, going to Mass every day and saying their prayers, and she grew up embraced through all of this love. Now, Rita was very much a girly girl. Okay, she liked beautiful things, and she liked all the things that so many girls find very exciting. And she came across this dashing, handsome young man named Paolo Mancini. And as soon as she saw Paolo, she said, "Oh my gosh, this guy is so amazing. I would love to be married to him." And so Paolo, seeing that Rita was a beautiful girl and very virtuous, asked her to be his wife. And at first, everything was wonderful. They had a storybook marriage out of a romantic comedy movie. And then it got weird. You see, Paolo came from not a very humble family, but from a very powerful family. And they were involved in organized crime. I mean, they were basically gangsters. And Rita didn't really know quite what Paolo was doing when he went off to work. And then one day, Paolo killed a man. And Rita found out about it. Rita was horrified. How could my husband that I love so much actually kill another man in cold blood? What is this kind of man? What is wrong with him? And so she went to the convent to ask her friends, the nuns, for advice and for help. And so the Mother Superior said, "Rita, I know this is hard, and I know that you want to abandon your husband and your family and leave. But you know what? Maybe the reason he's like this is because he doesn't know love. You grew up with the love of Jesus and the love of your family, and maybe you will be the only love that Paolo will be able to experience so that he can truly convert." Well, Paolo actually did convert, and he left the family business and tried to live as a good husband and father. But his past caught up with him, and a bunch of bad guys killed him. And so Rita and Paolo's two sons decided that they were going to avenge their father's murder. And Rita said, "No, you must learn forgiveness." But they didn't listen to their mother, and they were killed as well. This was really hard for Rita. She had seen her beloved husband and her two sons die because of violence and this crime that should never have been in the first place. And so Rita went a little crazy. She wandered around homeless, talking to herself. Everyone thought she'd lost her mind, and they said, "Oh, poor Rita, she's been through so much, but she's just crazy." And no one would have compassion and mercy on her. And so finally she started banging on the doors of the convent, begging the sisters to take her in. And the sisters were kind of like, "Well, this poor woman, we feel bad for her, but she could totally disrupt everything that we have in our silence in the convent. How can we possibly allow her to come in?" And so the Mother Superior said, "Rita, if it is the will of God, this will happen." Jesus appeared to Rita with two crowns, a crown of thorns and a crown of roses, and said, "Rita, I will give you whichever one you want. But which one do you want?" And so Rita said, "Lord, you wore the crown of thorns, and so that is the crown that I want to wear, in imitation of you." And so Rita took her suffering and her pain and everything that she felt inside, and she united it with the passion of Christ so that she could be a sign that love conquers death. And she wanted to become a nun after all this, but the nuns wouldn't let her in. And so one day, she was literally sleeping up against the door of the convent, and angels took her body and miraculously transported her into the middle of the convent behind the walls and plopped her right there. And the nuns woke up for morning prayer, and they saw Rita sleeping like a baby for the first time in years, right there in the middle of the convent. And they said, wow, this is a sign. And so Rita became a nun of the Augustinian order, which is why you see her in the black habit of the Augustinians. Rita was an amazing saint, and both in her life and after her death, there are many miracles that were attributed to her intercession. And in Rome, even today, on the feast of Saint Rita, there is a beautiful little church called Saint Rita, which is about the size of our adoration chapel right here. And roses are blessed in honor of Saint Rita and given to all the women of the city of Rome. And it's a beautiful thing to see all of these women who have gotten so many miracles through the intercession of Saint Rita. So even though in this life Rita had a crown of thorns that she accepted willingly from the Lord in imitation of him, she has showered down roses of miracles upon countless people. You know, we have a number of women out there who have very difficult marriages, and family life is not always easy for them. We have women who struggle with mental illness, and it's very hard for them. But they're God's children. And so because of that, they can still be very holy, even in the midst of incredible difficulties. And Saint Rita shows us hope and a way forward in Christ Jesus.